on this beautiful Thursday morning here. We're blessed with some beautiful weather. Aho, bonjour, Anishinaabe, Indanana, Wiamanidug. It's an honor and a privilege to be part of this State of the Nation address, which takes place with all of our 11 tribes of the state of Minnesota in a springtime such as this. We're going to be hearing about our progressiveness as a tribe from each of our members, some of the VIPs we have here. We have Peggy Flanagan, I believe, a video here after we call upon Brother Rob here for our invocation and prayer. And then we'll go right straight to the chairman, secretary, treasurer, District 1 rep, District 2, and District 3. But in the meantime, we're asking for those veterans stand by our color guard as we always take this time to honor our staff, our flags of the nation, and our colors in such a beautiful way of songs that have been given to us by our ancestors and forefathers. They left us the gift of song and beauty and dance. And we carry this tradition on when we sing these songs to honor the veterans that are here with us. And I've mentioned this many times ago. For myself, being on this reservation, I've seen many things come and go. And we used to have to go outside our nation at one time and look for a drum group to help us through the ceremony such as this, which is about to unfold. So I'm very honored and proud to be a member of the White Earth Nation that today we have 4 drum groups represented, although we have many more. Our young people have been inspired by what these gentlemen do with their songs that they call upon. We have songs for social dances, we have songs for our powwows, and we have songs with ceremonies, which we're not at this time. But we call upon them to give us these beautiful songs and bring us in the way our old people would, with our ceremony, with our food, with our feast, and how we extend a welcome to all of us here as guests and visitors on this most prestigious occasion. I know a lot of people wanted to be here today. It'll watch it from a YouTube or a satellite at home. It'll get to hear all that's being shared of where we're at in 2026 by our tribal council. So as soon as we get the word here, we're going to call for our song. We're asking Minoman singers to stand by. We'll be coming to you to proudly bring in our veterans here along with our tribal council. And then we'll come on over to the White Earth Boys for our flag song. And then we'll come on over here to Smoky Hill to what we're going to refer to as our victory song. Those 3 songs will bring us all into this beautiful arena. So we say welcome once again to everybody. I hope you enjoyed the hot coffee, the cold salad on that cold dish. Hey, and we're going to keep the food moving here throughout this whole agenda here. We're looking about 12 noon to wrap it up. We'll exit with our traveling song, and we'll invite everybody to partake at that time. And we want you to feel comfortable, leisure, and enjoy this beautiful morning as it unfolds. All right, it looks like we're ready to go over there. So we're going to call over here to the Minoman Singers, gentlemen, if you would. Our signature honor song. My friends, if you're able to, we'll invite you to rise at this time as we bring in our flags of the nations and our tribal council. Hoka, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, as we welcome the White Earth Honor Guard, our host Honor Guard. These proud men and women you see at this time stepped up to the plate many years ago. They have served proudly representing the United States Army. the U.S. Air Force, the U.S. Navy, the United States Marine Corps, the U.S. Coast Guard. And directly behind our proud veterans, we have a lineup of princesses and braves extraordinaire that would make any Indian nation proud, followed directly by our tribal council. Good morning, everybody. How about a round of applause for our proud veterans? We say welcome to our veterans. Welcome. To the beautiful royalty of Princess and Braves, we say welcome. To our tribal council, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How about a round of applause one more time? Once again, we say thank you to the Manoomin Singers. Gentlemen, awesome song. And now at this time, we'll take that mic, Ken, over here to the White Earth Boys. And they're going to come with us with 2 push-ups on a flag song. And everybody knows our flag song's the equivalent of a national anthem to honor the flags of the nation, the eagle staffs, and these beautiful flags you see before you. White Earth Boys, aho, nogamog, nogamog. Oh, Miigwech, thank you very much, White Earth Boys, for sharing that beautiful flag song. Smoky Hill, stand by as we're going to come to you for our victory song. You know, both veterans and victory songs have 2 separate meanings. We only sing this song once again to honor all of our proud military personnel you see here before you. We also sing this song on behalf of our ancestors and forefathers that defended a way of life. They protected our language, our culture, and our traditions that we are here today, that we share freely in our sacred language. They defied the federal government to make all these traditions and these teachings deemed worthy. And we carry them on in such a special way. We've helped this country fight its battles from World War I, II, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria. And we also have fought the state and the federal government and the court systems to defend what is ours. As we move forward progressively as a tribe, as these issues face us from day to day, whether we find ourselves back in the court system at a protest that takes special recognition for the betterment of all of us, this is what these victory songs, you think back of what our ancestors and forefathers and the many people that have come and gone that are not here with us today, that were true advocates and grass people of the nation. We take this song over here, Smoky Hill, if you would, boys, victory song. Oh, Smoky Hill, boys, sing it proud and sing it loud, boys. Dance proud. Jing tamuk shanabe, aha, ha, 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 ha. Ladies and gentlemen, warm it up one more time. We say thank you to the Smoky Hill Singers for sharing that beautiful victory song. Ladies and gentlemen, you can have a seat at this time. We'll turn things over to our honor guard at this time as they will post their staff and colors. And ladies and gentlemen, I want you to take a good look at all the beautiful royalty, princes and braves that took time out today to be here for this very special occasion. How about a round of applause for our representing royalty of princes and braves? We say welcome to each and every one of you, and thank you so much for blessing us with your presence here on our beautiful morning. And at this time, we'll invite our tribal council to come forward up here as we are going to go into our morning invocation and prayer. And it gives me honor and pride to call upon our cultural coordinator and my brother right here, Mr. Rob Tibbetts, one more time, if he'd be so kind to share our prayer and invocation this morning. Aho, my friend, welcome.
How and we Margaret. Meanwhile, Aberdeen and Dakuna, Sema, we winnie. The Pagadon the Magian. You should go in Queen Mag, Akina, Gabemi with Dua, the ill, in the window Jibwe with Nishinabe winning on. Gabemi Duad, Meminda Gay Gyoga, Izzy Gekunu Maguan. Oh, Ginu Anaquad, meanwhile go, oh, Elsie Bush, Gaywin, oh, Garrison Evans. Ingebi, we do cog, meanwhile go and give Gekunu Mag. Then way two on, meanwhile go. The Gekenda Man, I always on. Miga Niwe me kwenu maga gyo. Jimaga neshu wad. Gaunji waban damwad. Eo me squim. Gaj waban damwad gae. Eo dagwage tuin. Minwa go. Aji. Gano wena mawad gyo. Gijinish nabe menanin. Miga niwe me kwenu maga gyo. Inavish kamage jig. We went easy. We do coawad and shinabe and meno tuwad and you. Obi malazi winnie one. Minwa go. Jinala Kenda Muad, you. Indishinabe winning on. Nigae, you. Into Jibwe when Shinabe winning on. You. Indijitwa winning on. Nigae, you. And in way winning on. You Bagusena Akina, the widow Kagoyang, we went the gun wind among. You Gaji Mina Guyang. Nigae. Gun wind in the Zoad. Akina. Gaji widow Kawad. Yes, no gum. You bago cinema wa all money do na garnazid. We went jo dapana the same on. Mige win wa all Oshka Bewid. Oshka Bewis ni bago cinema. We went the issue and all same on gauge when it goes a governing. Miga ni bago cinema wa all. Najike wa wasang. We went jo dapana the same on. Gay win wa all now Jesus. Meanwhile, Akena Widi, Ish Babajig. When Donnie Muckin may mind the gay. Me Queenama were all basic, was our Benes, Shinabe, and gonna win the monogin and then waving and on. Meanwhile, going with Queenama, Akan or man to keep an awning. Me mind again, me Queenama, all basic, us and Abe, is you will quad and Nishnabe and Minoyanagin. Meanwhile, go Akina, Uma, me Guaya Kayawad. Migae Widdy, Nibikong, me Queenama, all basic, Mishi Bijou. Is you gonna win ma Bame Quajiwanagin. Meanwhile, go. And you, give me an omen a gunjin and on. Spin giving it to Gayan, Magaja gay, Giwani Kayan, Magaja gay. Giwani Gizwayan, New Bago Cinema, oh, now I Jesus, we need to go out course dude. New.
I want to say Chimi Gwitch to Brother Rob. Thank you for those kind words, those prayers and offering, and acknowledging of a couple of our elders that have went on to our homeland. We say, Miigwech, thank you. Okay, we're going to ask everybody to get seated here. We got a special little video we're going to show. But as I listened to that beautiful prayer and watched Color Guard bring in these beautiful flags of our nations here and princes and braves, and we're talking about sovereignty and solidarity. So on behalf of that, I want everybody to show that brotherhood and that sisterhood. I want you to look to the person to your right and give them a handshake. Show some love here. Look to the person to your right and give them a handshake. Now I want you to look to the person to your left and give them a big kiss. Hey. My friends, where we're at in the agenda here, we're going to get a little video up at this time by two very distinguished representatives of the great state of Minnesota. I'm talking about Peggy Flanagan and Amy Klobuchar. We've got two videos, so Roman Hanks or who's ever on the technical side, whenever you're ready, we're ready for that presentation, my friend.
Again, Indigenous cause. Indigo. Guabagag and Ipagnadunjaba, Mangidode. My name is Peggy Flanagan. My Ojibwe name is Speaks in a Loud and Clear Voice Woman. I'm a member of White Earth, and my family is the Wolf Clan. Thank you, Chairman Fairbanks and leaders of the Reservation Business Committee for the opportunity to join the State of the Band today. I'm proud to be a member of White Earth and so grateful for all you do. White Earth continues to lead with integrity and honor, and this year has been filled with important milestones for sovereignty and services to our people. We've made significant steps forward on the journey with the Tamarack National Wildlife Refuge. And earlier this year, White Earth's healthcare system received national accreditation from the Public Health Accreditation Board. And the band continues to work with Minnesota state government to strengthen tribal-state relations. That work has required ongoing communication, respect, and partnership. So thank you for joining us in that work. In my time as Lieutenant Governor, we've made important changes to tribal-state relations and built those changes into our systems. Without deepening tribal-state relations, we would not have established the first missing and murdered Indigenous relative state office in the country, enacted Indigenous Education for All, or proudly displayed all 11 tribal nation flags on the front lawn of the Minnesota State Capitol. We enshrine state agency consultation into statute, so no matter who wins every 4 years, consultation will remain the law in Minnesota. And when I go to Washington, D.C., I'm going to take all of you with me so we can teach the federal government a lesson about government-to-government partnership. As tribal people, we've lived through the confusion and suffering of the last year under the Trump administration. Trump's administration is attacking the most basic needs and economic stability of Native folks and tribal government. His big ugly bill gutted programs from the Bureau of Indian Affairs and tribal housing. The impacts of these cuts and the chaos in Washington are not theoretical. They are having real effects on the lives of people in Indian country. And they're doing it because they don't believe sovereignty is the supreme law of the land. Well, they're wrong, and we're going to make sure that not only do we restore these cuts, but we also finally fulfill our treaty obligations and trust responsibilities. These cuts are personal to me as a Native woman and as a kid who carried a box of commodity cheese under my arm like a football. I spent my entire career focused on economic issues that impact children and families, and I'm not giving up now. My first job in politics was for Paul Wellstone. He taught all of us that politics isn't about big money or power games, it's about the improvement of people's lives. And with your help, I will continue the work of improving people's lives as one of the first 2 Native women senators, along with my friend Mary Peltola in Alaska. Many of you know my dad, Marvin Moneypenny, and he told me, my girl, I want to burn down the system and you want to change it from the inside. We both had roles and both of those roles are important. And I feel this in my bones. We are each other's allies. And when we come together with a strong inside-outside game, we have more strength and power than any president, which is why I'm so grateful to have the endorsement of White Earth in my race for Senate. It means so much to have your confidence and support. I know some of you will be joining us at the state convention later this month, and we have the largest number of Native American delegates in DFL history. We have momentum, but we also have a lot of work to do to ensure that we're successful in the primary in August and the general election in November. Our victory will absolutely depend on the Native vote. Thank you for your support, because together, I know that we will win and that White Earth will be sending an Anishinaabe Kwe to the U.S. Senate. Chi-miigwech.
Hello to all my friends gathered today for the White Earth Nation State of the Nation. And thank you to the many White Earth leaders for all you do. Of course, Chairman Fairbanks, Secretary Treasurer LaRock, and District Representatives Fox, Summers, and Erickson. I was so honored to welcome the chairman to Washington a few months ago to discuss the nation's priorities and how you strengthen our state. You power the local economy, you support agriculture, and this year you became the first tribe in our state to be awarded a national healthcare accreditation, a major step forward in your ability to provide high quality care to so many. Throughout my time in the Senate, I've fought to make sure your voice is heard. Our tribal nations have a unique and sacred government to government relationship with the U.S. that is deeply rooted in treaties, the law, and the Constitution. This relationship demands an unwavering federal commitment to giving our tribal nations the support that they need to thrive. That's why I've long worked to support Minnesota's tribal colleges, which play a critical role in addressing workforce challenges, enhancing local economic development, and preparing students for in-demand careers. I've fought for strong funding for tribal colleges, including by introducing bipartisan legislation to make it easier to access apprenticeship, skills training, and community college education at schools across the state, like White Earth Tribal and Community College, and such an honor to visit. But in 2026, you cannot talk about investing in our communities without also talking about broadband. That's why I fought to secure historic broadband investments to help deliver high-speed internet to every zip code in America, including hundreds of millions of dollars to build out broadband access across our state, including in counties like Monoman, where 1 in 5 households don't have fast enough connection. And I'm continuing to work to get these dollars out the door and to you. And just as we focus on implementing these new investments, I'm focused on fighting back against the administration's cuts to the Indian Health Service, tribal hospitals, education, nutrition, Head Start, and the list goes on of ways that the federal government should be supporting our tribal nations. I also strongly oppose the unprecedented use of a procedural mechanism in recent legislation that would have far-reaching impacts on the boundary waters and public lands across the country. Both Tina, my friend and colleague, and I voted no. One of the Ojibwe philosophies that has always resonated with me is that belief that great leaders make decisions not just for today, but for children 7 generations from now. Whether it's investing in the next generation of the nation, strengthening our 21st century infrastructure, or protecting our public lands, we'll keep working together to make progress. I remain committed to working with you, government to government, to uplift the nation and ensure tribal sovereignty is recognized and respected for generations to come. Thank you. Hello to all.
Thank you very much for that response of probably 2 of many strongest advocates for us as Indian nations, as you hear them in their own words say, a government to government relationship. If you don't have this booklet here, it's free, by the way, on them tables out there that gives you a real accurate description of where we're at as a tribe and as a nation and our various projects. And I know we are a progressive tribe because last year when we were here, Chairman, you know those beautiful white linens you see across there? Those help with our concert, the sound and the micro sound here. Last year, the nice white linens were not there. We had bed sheets up there. So we are very progressive. Hey. My friends, at this time, we're going to go through council here at this time. And we're going to start with the top with our chairman. I'd like to ask Chairman Fairbanks at this time, if he'd be so kind to start us off with our go-round of full council. Mike, good to see you again, my friend. And thank you for taking the time to dance by that drum on all 3 of those songs, my friend. Ahoo.
Miigwech, Vince. You know, driving up here and making my way this way and thinking about I woke up this morning and, I'm thinking about last night before I went to bed but all the good things, I kind of got a little restless and, thought about me standing up here, addressing our citizens, our members, and just being grateful, that we could still do this. We could still sit here, come together, eat, listen in, listen to the awesome drums, their beautiful songs, and I think those are the little things that we don't think about it sometimes, that just how grateful we are. So that's what I wanted to say, everyone, today, and before I get started here, and I just so grateful to be here. So, all right, miigwech. Ani buju, ani shinabek, memish kawi gabo and dishnakas, begizin du dame, gawa baga kenakag and dun jaba, miigwech. I got a bunch of notes, and last night I was thinking about, 2 years ago when we were up here talking to you and addressing the health, the heartbeat of our nation. How back then the roads that we were taking, the paths that we were taking to get where we're at today, the accomplishments that we did, us 5 members that you elected up here, and where we're at today. I think those are the things I'm so proud of. Not proud of me, I'm proud of my tribal council here and all the directors. And of course, I want to say miigwech to all of our employees out there that helped. That goes from everyone in this building. Right now we have over 2,300 employees in White Earth. So you think about the responsibility that we have as tribal leaders up here to empower our programs, to empower our businesses, to empower you. These are the things that we work on, we strive to move forward with. It's so important that, and it wouldn't be without us all talking, communication. So these are the things I wanted to get out today. And, going over some of the list I had 2 years ago, a lot of these things on this page we have accomplished. One of the things, and I'll briefly go over this. And I talked about this 2 years ago, and I talked about Strawberry Lake. It's open. Strawberry Treatment Facility. It is open. We'll be moving in 2 more families out there, hopefully in the next week or 2. So those are things that we're moving for. We hired the people to manage that. Crisis withdrawal management. Another one. Over 400 employees in our behavioral health and our SUD program. A lot of our employees that work in our programs used to be users. Like one time that were down and out, like me one time, that struggled through chemicals. These are the things I'm so proud of our people, the resiliency, the powerful, the heartbeat of our drums, our culture, our language, and where we're at today. The other thing I want to talk about, Creators Place, Pine Point. One of the things that we, as tribal, this Lower Lease District, where we talk about creating the jobs, keeping the economy flowing out in our little districts out there, our beautiful district, Pine Point. I know there's many things out to say about some of these things too. The Minneapolis urban area, what we do down there is right now we're at the point of we're remodeling the Clifton Place, our clinic. We have so much things that we're gonna talk about today. One of the main things I want to talk about is IHS and what we're doing with that. But that's going to be a little bit later. The other thing I wanted to mention, and this was the homeless shelter. Where we were at back then, it's complete now. We are taking on the full gamut of the citizens that are out there hurting. We refer them to the homeless shelter across town. Employment, I talked about that. Natural resources, I'll get to. Our businesses. And I guess I wanted to talk about, the main thing I wanted to talk about in my speech was land back. These were the things that I feel as our nation to move forward, to reclaim our ancestral homeland. I think these are the things the council, we all came together and met together and we purchased over 5,000 acres since 2022. Big witch. The other one part about that, the White Earth State Forest. We've been working on this for a while. I remember not last year, not this legislation, the legislation before, I was having testimony for land back down in St. Paul in front of the Senate. And this is one area where this year, on February 3rd, the council, we were down at the state capitol. We signed the first MOU with our governor to co-manage White Earth State Forest. Now I'll get to Tamarack National Refuge. This has been a good journey for us. This is one thing that I have to thank the council, the team, Dusty, his team, Natural Resources. I have to thank Tamarack. I have to thank the National Fish and Wildlife Service for making this happen. I think this is one area where I talk about this, about 638. One of the things that I think about when we talk about land back and we talk about getting these ancestral homelands, 43,000 acres we're gonna be co-managing with Tamarack. But I'm gonna get more into that. How many in this room want land back? Everyone wants land back. It's about self-determination. It's about us taking the reins from the federal government, us running Tamarack. But at this point right now with Tamarack, we signed our first AFA, annual funding agreement, on June 30th, 2025. We'll be taking over 3 areas of Tamarack. That'll be water management. That's our wild rice. We're going to be managing that along with the refuge. Number 2, forestry. We're going to be working along with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife and our forestry, working hand in hand to manage the forest lands out in Tamarack. And number 3 is our culture, implementing our culture and our language into that system. I know I was talking to Emma back there, who's part of the Friends of Tamarack, and they're really excited too about what's happening, how White Earth is moving forward with this. And these are things that I feel like it's for us to do these big, giant leaps. It's up you, the people. This is what it's all about. And I think this is something that we talk about, that self-determination, and we talk about us taking control, what we can do as a nation. And this is when I'm going to talk about IHS, the same thing. We have to take back what is ours. Our health care is our next thing I'm going to talk about. And this is something that's down my road. When I became deputy director, probably about 9-10 years ago for the band, this is one area I had no clue about. I know one thing when I was hopping table to table here talking to the elders, and they said, Michael, you need to get out to the communities and talk about 638, which I am going to address with their council. I know Laura Lee wanted to get out and said the same thing to me. We are going to do this. This process is timely. This process has to be done correctly. I know information we're giving out to you is something that we need to do more of it. But don't be scared. It's the same thing that we're doing to Tamarack. We're taking back the funding agreement will come back to us so we can hire the doctors. We can hire the lab technicians. We can hire the administration. These are things that will be up to our health board. Our health board will be empowered to do the best things we can do for our health system. And these are things that we can talk about all day about. And that's what I was talking about, the girls back there, is something that's going to be very, very important to us. But this time we're in right now, it's tough because we're in the time period gap of us assuming control and getting the AFA, the annual funding agreement. And you got to remember this too. IHS only funds us at 38% in this region. And this is the Midwest region. So we're not even funded 100%. So we have to have the best. We have to have the best billers. We have to have the best doctors. We have to have the best services out there to provide to all of our citizens and our members. This is important. So I'm going to go from there. I'll stop there and on IHS. And like I said, I know some of the other council members will talk a little bit about it too, but what I'm telling you guys is this is a good thing for all of us. Don't be scared. I know Ramey's here. You know, these are things that I'm in total communication with IHS, communication with Chris Poole, the regional director. We're all in rhythm right now. We're in the process of hiring our first CEO to oversee our health system. So things are getting really close. So when we get to that point, we're going to be able to put more doctors out in Pine Point, more nurses in Pine Point, more doctors in Rice Lake, and more nurses in Rice Lake. These are things that we're going to do. Because right now, it takes about 6 months to hire someone at IHS. That's too long. A lot of us need dentists. We need nurses. We need lab staff. We need all this support staff that we need. We need it now. We can't wait 6 months. A lot of our elders need this service, and it's really important to us, and it matters because this is why I'm talking about it. Something that I want to accomplish, we want to accomplish as tribal council to make sure that we have a really robust health system. Some of the businesses now I'm going to go into. I know one of them was Highway 59 Homes. This is something that came up to the council about our housing. You know, I know that a dream of all of us and our kids and our grandkids that have home ownership. You know, not to depend on no one. Have a good job. Have a good paying job. A living wage job. We've done that. The council's done that. We're probably the highest paid employer probably in this whole northern Minnesota right now. Everyone's getting paid a living wage. These are things that us council members, we strive and we work towards. 59 homes. We had a grand opening here not too long ago. Affordable living houses. I know Nick, I'm not sure if Nick Fairbanks is here, but he should have a booth out there. Stop and see him. I know Enterprises is here. Something that we as a nation, and we've talked to council, we've talked about this about now when you buy a house, you need land. So I'm talking to all 3 district reps. This might be in their reports that we have to find places for these houses to be set on. But this is one area where we can bring affordability back to our citizens. Right now, $400,000 is in the bank for 59 homes to offset some of the financial burden of that home loan process. So Nick is working on that now. So remember that. We're doing what we can to get our citizens in these homes. Very important. Be good. Wabiga-Mashkiki. Michael will talk more about that financially. We opened up our 3rd dispensary in East Grand Forks. You know, it's beautiful. I can't believe how we turned a Burger King into such a beautiful, beautiful place. Holy moly. I just can't believe it. When I walked there and I seen it out front, I was just shocked how gorgeous it is. And it's just like, I mean, the Whoppers and the lettuce might be different. But no, I mean, but getting back, I mean, geez, this is something that, you know, I see Lenny down here. Lenny at one time, you know, Lenny find one of my best friends and, you know, our general counsel at one time. And we talked about this years ago. And that's in the 2-year report too, you know, is Wabiga-Mashkiki and where we're going to be at today. You know, and I think this is something that just, I'm blown away how far we're ahead of everyone else. Not to be bragging, not to be ego, but just how we planned this out. and the steps and where we're at today on what we're serving and what we're doing with our business and what's happening with our business. I'm so proud of, there's 170 employees over there. Economics, jobs, Monoman, East Grand Forks, Moorhead, St. Cloud. End of June, Chanhassen will be number 4. And I'm going to say this today, guys. Number 5 is going to be in Bemidji. Our membership in Bemidji will be able to apply for work at that place. I want to see, that's going to be a good one in Bemidji. I'm really happy to tell you about that one today. But yeah, so these are some things that I guess that I'm kind of getting here to the end of it. But I did want to talk a few things about COLA, Circle Life Academy, our children. I really want to stress a lot, through our prayers, through our songs, through our drums, to the dancing, and especially to our language. I've been working with Rob Tibbetts, his team. I know Vince is out in the hallway with the COLA, talking to Vince about this too, is how we're going to pave the way to create an immersion portion of COLA. So our kids get language at kindergarten and learn our language. Miigwech. And also I want to talk about the elders. Another area on where we're helping our elders. These are some things I guess we talk about on a daily basis. My office is across the hall from Laura Lee's office. And, Laura Lee comes sees me periodically about, all these other apps and the elders' needs and wants and how we're helping and fixing, and the smiles and the postcards that we get when we do actually fix up these houses for elders, and, the smiles. And because some of the things that before I got elected in my last election, I went out and talked, and I stopped at a lot of the elderly units, and they talked about their bathtubs, and they talked about they have a struggling time to get in there. And these are one things that we're really working on, the council, is replacing and fixing their homes. These are things that I promote when I talk to everyone, get the elders app. And this is one thing that I asked council to request at our next meeting, to get another $1 million back to us so we can help our elders. And our programs, our programs are going full blast. In our homeless program, our behavioral health program, our land department, our natural resources, all of them. These are things that it's a really complex mechanism that rolls every day, that has to be greased, that has to keep flowing. And these are the things that, like I talked about earlier, our leadership is in charge of keeping those programs up and going. And like I said, I'm super proud of not only the council, but I'm super proud of the programs, the directors, the managers, and our employees. And also, before I close here, I want to say miigwech to the drummers, the 3 drums that set up today. They're beautiful songs. I want to say miigwech to Rob for that beautiful prayer today that inspired me, inspired all of us in this room. And of course, I want to say miigwech to Vince here, my close buddy, my best MC, that we can all have a great day today, because the sun's out. It's beautiful out there. Mino Gizi God, so I want to say thank you. Miigwech, Miu.
Good one, Mike. Thank you very much, Chairman Fairbanks. And now, following our program, we're going to call upon the Secretary Treasurer of the White Nation. We'd like to invite Michael Rock at this time to share his portion also. Welcome, my friend. Ahoo.
Ani Buju, Misqua, Gabo, Makwa, Dijnakas, Waban and Da, Gawa, Bobby Ganikug, in Dunjaba. Anin, my relatives. I'm going to do something today that I probably rarely ever do. I'm going to speak from a script, and I was told not to say one word and not to make any bad jokes. So I'm going to try to stay away from that. So, all right. Anin, my relatives. It's been a humble honor to serve as your Secretary Treasurer for the past 4 years. I appreciate everyone who believed in me and supported me in this elected role. I've committed my heart and soul into the work of our people to do everything I could to monitor expenditures, create stability in our finances and workforce, and support new growth. The economic, hold on a second here. The economic, hold on a second here. Economic picture for the White Earth is probably the strongest that I've ever seen it in a long time. Tribal finances. The FY25 government fund report shows that we continue to invest steadily in the services of our community rely on every day. Our general fund supports the core operation of the tribal government. Things like health services, human services, public safety, transportation, the cultural programs, and those investments that remain strong and consistent. Please refer to the financial report that is included with the State of the Nation book for specific details. In our FY25 general fund, we spent a little over $10 million for general government services. In health, education, human services, and culture, we spent about $5.3 million. In public safety, conservation, and public works, we spent about $6.5 million. In transportation, community services, and economic development, we spent about $1.7 million. For a total general expenses of $23.6 million. General fund capital outlay. Expenditures totaling $7.7 million for projects I'll speak about later. General fund total expenditures equal $34.3 million. Again, the general fund supports the core operations of our tribal government. We invested wisely. Highly proficient in, we invested wisely. Along our general fund, we managed our other government funds, which are made up of mostly grant-funded programs and billing revenue dollars. These dollars can shift year to year because they're tied up to specific grants and projects, but they play a major role in supporting our community. In our other government fund categories for FY25, in education, human services, and cultures, we spent about $51.6 million. In health, we spent about $42.7 million. In public safety, transportation, and conservation, we spent about $12.3 million. In general fund government and economic development, we spent $3.4 million. For a total of $110.3 million in other government funds expenditures. We spent $9.9 million in capital outlay projects that I'll speak more about later, for a total of $121.7 million in other government funds, which again includes grant dollars, billing revenue predominantly. Our health and behavioral health programs are highly proficient in maximizing third-party billing revenue that supports the large-scale operation of health and behavioral health services for our people's needs. When looking at total government expenditures for FY25, the majority of our expenditures went towards health and human services for our people at about $88 million. Next in line was government operation expenses at a little under 13 million. Right behind that was education, spending about $8 million. Following by conservation at 7, transportation at 6, and public safety at 5 million. Taken together, our FY25 result shows a healthy balance, steady funding for essential government operations, and meaningful growth that helps us expand opportunity for our tribal members. Taking a closer look at tribal programs, we're investing program funds on improvements. This is kind of our capital outlay where we've made improvements in each one of our areas. So in Minneapolis, we are investing over $6 million of behavioral health dollars into our urban programs and services located at the Clifton Place building. This will expand the types of services as well as the number of individuals that can be served through our urban programs. The building renovation includes necessary upkeep and improvements, as well as expanding mental health and SUD treatment. The renovation will be completed in 2026. White Earth Child Care Building construction is complete. This is one I'm really proud of. I drive by it every day when we go to the RBC. So Sue Heister did an excellent job, and her staff do an excellent job there of securing the funding and basically not using hardly any of the general fund dollars to build this building, which is well needed. So I give a chimigwich out to Sue Heister and her staff and her program over there. So this is a brand new child care building located near the RBC building in White Earth that is open for business serving our youngest people. It is a beautiful learning place that provides excellent opportunities for our children in their early stages of development. We were proud to support this investment in our future. In addition to the new childcare building, the library was relocated on site and will be reopening to the community for this summer. It's going to be there. Water and sewer. We've been working on major wastewater improvements projects in Rice Lake and Nadawash. Wastewater disposal in our treatment ponds was completed in 2025. The White Earth Water Treatment Construction Project started as well and will be completed next year. The Behavioral Health Division completed construction and opened the doors to a first-of-its-kind family treatment facility near Strawberry Lake. We started this project through an initial investment from the Min Legislative and added behavioral health revenue to build the 8-unit family complexes. Another building we're proud of for our families. I think they call it the WEFSA building. I think there's an acronym for that. So White Earth, I think it's the initial family treatment facility. We wanted to invest in a treatment system that supported keeping our families together, that avoids placing children into foster care and reduce their trauma. Parents are able to live in their own family housing unit with their children while mom and dad engage in treatment. This program is unique and one of a kind and will serve as a model for other nations. The doors open to our first family this month, and we have 2 more families scheduled to move in over the next week. So this is an excellent program. Excellent program, guys. Excellent program. Behavioral Health also remodeled a building in Mahnomen through the support of funding from $1 million in federal grants and using $500,000 in billing revenue to provide 24-hour crisis management services to our constituents. The facility will provide expanded services after hours because, as we know, crisis does not stop at 4:30 p.m. Our membership needs help and advocacy after hours for family members, children, and for themselves. This project should be completed in 2026. Another great building, another great one. In Pine Point, we've done some remodeling to the community center to improve and expand services, including the MATS program and visitation services to all members. This reduces transportation barriers and costs for our members out in Pine Point community. All of these projects have been necessary and worthwhile investments back into our membership. All great programs, all great programs. Next is, we are moving towards full assumption of clinic services. The operation of our 638 healthcare system is a financial and operational stability issue to protect healthcare of our constituents. Why are we moving in this direction? I have a little blurb here that would say that having limited staff with the federal government running the thing, running the programs, we have an opportunity to basically eliminate that and put it in our own hands to be able to hire when we want to and get the people we need there for the services that we need, and not a break in services that we need for our tribal membership. Miigwech. Under the current structure, too many decisions stay in the hands of the federal system. That means less flexibility and responsiveness when problems come up. With 638, we have the ability to build services around the White Earth priorities and community needs. Our local IHS is experiencing between 50 to 60 staff vacancy rates, and this isn't new. It's only getting worse. IHS experiences hiring delays of 90 to 180 days during these staffing shortages, largely because the federal government bureaucracy, red tape. This impacts our local services. It really does. IHS staffing shortages recently closed down the Pine Point Clinic and nearly shut down the Natoash Clinic. Our tribal health department is supplementing staff right now to keep the doors open, so it's time. We can recruit staff faster and plan in a way that fits our communities. Everyone receiving services now will continue to receive services. Current clinic employees will continue to have their positions. We hope all will stay and they will be treated well. Why financial control matters. From a financial standpoint, 638 is about putting White Earth in a stronger position. We can align healthcare funding with local priorities. There are financial benefits to moving forward. It gives us local control over how healthcare dollars are planned, managed, and used. At the end of the fiscal year, the unspent dollars will now remain here and not go back to the area office to be spent elsewhere, covering other location shortfalls like it is now. We'll get to reinvest these dollars locally into our people's healthcare. Good one. That's going to be a good one. Right now, too many parts of the federal systems are uncertain. There are IHS and HHS reorganization and staff shortages, government shutdowns, and federal delays that slow down hiring, purchasing, and contracting. And these issues don't stay in DC. They end up impacting our local daily operations. So we need to have that here. We can't have that over in DC making decisions for our clinic when we can do it ourselves. It can support stronger budgeting, better planning, more accountability to our people. A locally managed system can be better positioned to coordinate all funding sources in a way that supports White Earth's long-term healthcare needs. If we don't have enough dentists, then our health board can prioritize that as a goal for White Earth and actively recruit dentists to come here to practice. This move really helps our ability to identify our needs and then go out there and get them handled. We are moving forward responsibly. We are. White Earth took over some of the first 638 healthcare services more than 3 decades ago with our CHR, our home health programs, and has successful managed them over all of this time. So we are more than capable. Since then, we've continued to assume more and more programs and services under our 638 AFA contract to the point where we have over 550 employees in our health and behavioral health programs. It's a lot of employees. That's putting a lot of people to work here. So we receive very little funding from IHS under our Title I AFA contract to operate these services. So we've had to become proficient in our operations, oversights, and billing departments to make it successful. The only thing we have not yet assumed under the Title I contract is clinical services. We've been thoroughly, consistently engaged in strategically planning for 10 years to do this. We can rely on our experience of already operating healthcare programs already. We're doing the job already. We just got to get over that hump with the clinical services. So we instituted an independent health board that operates autonomously from the tribal council. We instituted this interim board back in 2015, 2016, based on community feedback that the healthcare system needed to have its own board and be separate from the government side. The tribal council will not be involved in the day-to-day operations of the clinics. The health board and CEO will be responsible. Our intern health board has the expertise required to provide excellent oversight of the CEO and review community need assessments. They're actively listening to clinic employees, their needs, concerns, and relying on their insight for such a smooth transition. The health board is in the process of interviewing a healthcare CFO. Experienced in clinic administration and 60-day process right now with 7 strong candidates. This decision has been thoughtful, and the reason for moving forward is clear. We need a health system that is stable, responsive, accountable to White Earth. We know that we can achieve this. We're thankful to our partners at area office who are working with us through this transition. Thankful for our employees at the clinic for your dedication to our healthcare. And leadership teams there who have all worked closely with our health board. It's a good deal. It is going to be a good deal. It's going to improve services. Next I have, in addition to healthcare, we've expanded our tribal businesses and economic development. Wabigon Mashkiki. Wabigon is a business entity that governed by a board of directors responsible for business decisions and operational oversight. The board operates in coordination with the tribal leaders and the White Earth Land Office, with final approval resting with the RBC for land purchase transactions. This creates multiple layers of review and accountability. There's not a single point of decision making. Purchasing opportunities for Wabigon come through normal channels, then go through the land office for evaluation against established standards. Then to the RBC review and recommendations. We now have 4 dispensaries in operation. This includes our original dispensary in Mahnomen, followed by a second dispensary opened in Moorhead, a third opened in St. Cloud. The dispensary in St. Cloud is located in a strip mall that we own and lease out space to other businesses, diversifying our income. We just opened a 4th dispensary in East Grand Forks last week, which is very successful. We close on a property in Chanhassen for the 5th dispensary with the goal of opening in July. The Chanhassen property was a strategic investment by the nation, with the property owned by the nation and leased to Wabigon. The location is in the market that limits the number of dispensaries, which provides us with a revenue-generating market advantage in a large metro area because we are the only operating dispensaries in the near future. Creates long-term value. We secured a position in a highly limited market. Wabigon is using the building to occupy in various locations and negotiating fair market commercial leases from the nation for use of the property. This also brings revenue in for our nation. With Wabigon, I want to talk a little bit about a revenue allocation program. that's one of the main things that, like what the casino does with their reserves. Wabigon is going to be doing the same thing. We're going to be creating a revenue allocation program for their revenue to be able to use it for a lot of things like cultural, language revitalization, other government services, in replacing a lot of those funds that we're falling short at. So, miigwech. Okay. Jobs. Wabigon currently employs 194 employees. It has created several jobs at Mahnomen facility for our local community. Approximately 117 of the 194 employees work out of the Mahnomen location, and 71 are tribally affiliated. We're hiring our own people here. So, at present time, the Moorhead location adds 33 jobs to the local economy. The St. Cloud and East Grand Forks location each benefit with 23 jobs added to their local economy. Wabigon has been awarded a $50,000 lean manufacturing grant to train staff members on way to become more efficient. And I think that program is through the tribal college, I believe. So we have 10 employees who graduated from the Oaksterdam University Horticulture program course and have another 12 signed up for this year. This course is available to all tribal members to take as well. Finances related to Wabigon Mishkiki. In 2023, 24, 25, third-party audits were conducted and have all come back clean without any findings. That's a big one right there. It's a big one. It's important for our public and our constituents to know this. It is. In FY 2025, the total revenue was 15.3 million, resulting in a net income of 5.1 million and a cash balance at the end of the year of 2.4 million. Close to 2 million have been repaid to the tribe for loans paid on quarterly schedules. That money is also being used to put back into programs and funds that we fall short on. One of them is what we're thinking about doing is the emergency elder homeowner fix-up program. We put $1 million in there last year, and we're going to put $1 million in there because I feel it's very important for our elders to live in, to have their houses fixed up, especially in emergency situations. Retail build-outs have been fully funded by Wabigon Mishkiki at $3 million. Wabigon Mishkiki has donated close to $100,000 to powwows and other events in the community since opening. And that's just the start. That money is going to go back to you guys, to our communities. Once we get the reservation allocation plan put in place, it's going back to the community. Forecasted financial projections for the Moorhead site includes a jump from a net income in 2025 of 1.5 million to 5.8 million in 26 net income. St. Cloud forecasts include a yearly net income of 885,000 in 2025 to 2.8 million in 2026. We only see the growth of these businesses expanding and generating more revenue that can be put into the needs of our constituents. For more insight regarding Wabigon business, please look at their May newsletter for more detailed information. I believe it's going to be here today. I think they might have their newsletter here today. So, Tribal Utilities Commission. Our Tribal Utilities Commission had significant engagement in local, state, and federal energy initiatives. Examples of this include Bagley Casino Solar Project, utilizing a 2.8 million Department of Energy grant to create a 1.1 megawatt solar array, which will produce enough clean energy to power most of the casino's power load and reduce their electricity bills. That's another big one right there. That's another big savings. The TUC assisted with the large solar and battery storage project in Pine Point. We as a tribal council were out there this beginning of this week to be able to go through that program where they let the kids at the Pine Point School flip the switch. They flipped the switch for that program. The one thing I would like to mention about that also is that with the battery backups, we talk about our storms and our bad weather in areas that shut down our electricity, and it causes challenges for all of our community members where we're out of power and we got to get generators and all that. This battery backup system will power up the Pine Point School, in these kind of situations. So in working with the TEC, we've also expanded to look at solar projects in each one of the other smaller communities, or even the bigger communities, to make sure we have battery backup so we can keep our members safe in these times when it happens like this here. So, okay, we are the first tribe to join National Association of Regulating Utilities Commission. We became a charter member of the Min Tribal Advocacy Council on Energy with Min Department of Commerce. We are active leaders in Midwest Tribal Energy Resource Association. We are participating with Garden Valley on a $5 million broadband construction project in North Mahnomen County, up Blair Road and Highway 200 corridor. And get that, we need to get our broadband, everything out to our membership, especially the ones that don't have it right now. So we are partnering with Garden Valley on a $5 million broadband construction project in North Mahnomen County, up Blair Road and Highway 200 corridor. Another big project. And also we have some tribal members that are working on this project. So we worked on a telecommunication code that creates a process to permit and regulate telecommunication providers. This allows the rate review and approval for telecom providers. There's another thing. When we talk about our telecommunications, our internet, all of our stuff here, we talk about quality and affordability for our membership. And this is what that's going to do. Quality and affordability. That's what I look at. So, let me go ahead. Our land lease for a cell tower in Nadawash brings in a profit and improved cell reception. That was a much needed project also last year in Nadawash with a new cell phone tower, which is, I think I started working for the police department in 2004, and the cell reception in Nadawash was one of the worst. By putting this cell tower over there last year, that really improved all the cell coverage, and it was much needed for our community. Overall, our investments, leases, and partnerships have resulted in expanded internet services and cell phone coverage throughout most of the reservation, with our villages seeing improvements. I'm proud of the Tribal Utilities Commission for its advancement and improvements that have directly benefited our local communities. Big chimi gwitch to our TUC. Almost done, only halfway there. How's that sound? Just joking. I told them no bad jokes, I was told. Okay, Moorhead property investment. The nation purchased the 297-acre Moorhead property in December of 2024 as an investment initiative. Being so closely situated with a metro market, there were initial concerns raised by some that this could reduce profits at the Mahnomen Casino. However, the feasibility study shows that the income from Moorhead could heavily outweigh the minor decrease in Mahnomen. In November 2025, we completed a feasibility study for the proposed Moorhead area casino, hotel, and RV park. That feasibility study supported a 200-room hotel with 950 slot machines, a 125-seat food court, gift shop, and 50-pad RV park. The project return on investment in that feasibility study is incredibly promising. With debt services It is 4.5 years to pay off the land and construction investment. This is roughly a 20 to 24% capitalization rate without debt services to build it. It is conceptually for an off-reservation fee to trust gaming application with the BIA and Office of Indian Gaming. We've had successful meetings with leaders and constituents of Dilworth, Moorhead, Clay County for this project. We look forward to working with them in partnership. We are currently working on an environmental assessment as well for that property. The feasibility study encourages this to be a solid economic investment for all people. It will result in more jobs and revenue. This also is a big one. It's a big deal, Miigwech. We've made investments on reservation. Housing is a basic human necessity, and I will continue to work on projects that address our local needs, especially upholding our communities, our commitment to elders. Meeting the needs of our elder housing, we completed and turned over the keys to 22 elder tiny homes located in Rice Lake, White Earth, and Pine Point. That's a big one there too, putting them in their own homes. I am proud to say that this is the largest new home construction that we've experienced in nearly 20 years. In the last 3 years, we have built 34 total homes. I just got to put a shout out to Mike Heisler from the White Earth Housing Program too, and his staff on putting houses in each one of the villages. So at a state and local level, I continue to work on legislation and funding that addresses housing needs for our membership. We know that we need to continue to build housing units for our young adults who have nowhere to go and need affordable housing options. And for our single families who also need affordable housing that's close to work and their kids' school, with a strong strategic economic position we're in. I can continue to work towards record-breaking new home construction along with other tribal leaders who've also made housing a priority. I have to put a shout out to the rest of the council, the district reps. I know that we talked about the 18 to 54-year-olds, the single families that are suffering through some of those things that are going on here now, and the homeless situation we have. So we are working on grants to be able to meet those challenges for that age group, 18 to 54. We are really looking at that, so to get them better, for them to live a better life. So we are very excited about expanding the Bison program. Hold on a second here. Jumping ahead here, sorry. Food sovereignty is another human basic necessity. We are investing in projects that support food sovereignty for our membership. The Bison program is a great example of how we are making investments towards food safety and security for our membership. The Bison program continues to move forward with our goals and initiatives by expanding the herd with the arrival of 45 new bison. The program recently welcomed 4 new calves to the breeding herd near Nadawash. So when you drive by there, you can see them there. There's 4 new babies out there. Let's see here. Remember the government shutdown last November? We saw threats to SNAP benefits and food security for our members during that time. We want to be prepared for that. So we are very excited about expanding the Bison program and for processing for our local food needs, or for any ceremonial purposes and related items, such as hides, bones, and skulls. We'll do our best to accommodate these requests and lead in a good way. Wild rice. Now here's a big one here from last year, from the last things. Wild rice is another food substance that's provided for our people. We have been deeply committed to protecting our precious monomen for current and future members. We made a record-breaking year for purchasing wild rice. That's big. The 2025 Monoman harvest season had been a remarkable one for our community. The White Earth purchased a total of 320,699 pounds from local membership ricers, making this the largest year for rice purchasing in our history. Yay! The economic boost for our band members heading into the fall was exceptional. It was great. It was a great year. White Earth compensated ricers with a total payout of $1.7 million. That's how much money went out to our community for our tribal members, just for the ricing payouts. So, Natural Resources purchased 176,000 pounds of rice at $5 per pound, accounting for about 884,000. Another 143,000 pounds at a purchase price of $6 a pound, totaling 862,000. We couldn't do this unless we had a sound economic infrastructure when a nation has stable financial leadership. Then we are able to reinvest back into the membership, exercising traditional ways of life, providing for their families. Big one, big one. To protect our harvest sites and ricers, we invested in several major infrastructure projects over the last year. This includes Lower Rice Lake site investment. At Ponsford and Bush Landing, corduroy walk-through with gravel overlays were installed. Boulders were strategically placed at the start of each walkway to prevent damage from ATVs and UTVs. Parking areas were expanded to improve traffic flow and accommodate more vehicles. The old channel at Big Bear Landing was reopened, allowing racers to travel directly from the parking area to the lake. All 4 landings are now equipped with poles that will support solar-powered lights and navigation flags. Very important for our people when they're out there. When you're out on a big lake as Lower Rice Lake, it's easy to get lost out there, and I've done it. So these are the things we're doing to make sure that those challenges are taken care of. The Ag Department delivered fresh produce to our communities throughout the summer last year. With the same good intentions, we continue to support our Natural Resource Department, protections of our water and fisheries, ag lands, and forests. We purchased over 5,000 acres of land over the last few years, demonstrating our commitment to land back and our future members of this nation. The majority of this included large vacant land purchases on the reservation, mostly woodlands. Again, we wouldn't be able to do this without economic stability and sound financial management. Okay, almost done. Tribal employees and job growth. A shout out to all the excellent tribal employees. You guys are the heartbeat of us. Give a good shout out to our tribal employees. You're the backbone. Without you, we wouldn't have this stable work environment or economic base to work from. The nation, through its RBC and its enterprises, is the single largest employer in this region with 1,222 government-side employees alone, which is an increase from the prior year's 1,185 employees. On the government side, we have 72% Native American employees, and 82.5% of our managers and the village directors are all Native American. Hire our own people. This is an intentional rebuilding from where we started to focus on growth and development of our people. There are many excellent employees throughout all of our other businesses, casinos, and enterprises. We continue to conduct market wage analysis to maintain our competitive edge in the geographic market. As of December, we had 2,145 employees in total. Today, I'd like to give a shout out to the emergency response team and forestry department. Shout out to them. You guys go above and beyond in our times of tragedy. People don't know this, but when we have a death in our community and a family needs wood for their sacred fire, it doesn't matter what day it is, how cold it is, these individuals are going to go out and chop wood and deliver it to the family. Very big, very big. This happens when it's 30 degrees below zero outside or on Christmas Day, when they leave their families to go take care of another that is hurting after a loss. It's time this got recognized. Chimi Witch Fellows, our emergency response team and our forestry department. Summary. In summary, these are deeply concerning economic times in the United States, and our families are all feeling the pinch of increased costs of everything due to inflation. We need to remain committed to food sovereignty, job security, and economic planning. We need to be united in ensuring our people's nation continues to remain economically strong, stable, and solutions focused out of best interest for our membership. We need to take care of our people. We take care of our membership. Taken together, our FY25 result shows a healthy balance. Meaningful growth supported through grants that help us expand opportunities for our band members. Steady economic growth and steady economic funding for essential government operations. A stable workforce that has continued to add new jobs to our local economy and others. That creates new opportunities for our band membership. Chimi Gwitch for the opportunity to serve as Secretary Treasurer. I'd like to put a big Chimi Gwitch out to everybody that showed up today, the drum groups, the elders, the in-betweens, the veterans, everybody else. Chimi Gwitch to Vince Bile for emceeing, and Chimi Gwitch to the rest of the tribal council in this vision, in this future of this progression of us moving forward. Miigwech everybody for being here, and have a great day. Thank you for listening to me today.
Thank you once again, our Secretary Treasurer, Michael LaRock. We're going to continue right on with our 3 district reps, and we're going to call upon our District 1 rep that represents the Rice Lake and surrounding communities. District 1, I'd like to call upon our brother here, Mr. Henry Fox. Who?
Anin, everybody. Gage Gimeon, Indigenous Ka, Makwa Nudame, Gajika Jaway Gamug. Henry Fox, District 1 rep. First thing I want to start out today is prayers. Prayers for the war we're in. I guess it's a ceasefire, but you know, that war is a big thing, and it's really affecting not just us, but all the people of the world. You know, we're looking at $4.20 a gallon gas. I seen yesterday somebody pulled up to the pump, and I seen the pump handle come in the window, you know, and robbing that guy for his money. So, and that's pretty true. We do have a lot, you know, that we go on, not only, you know, weekdays, but weekends too. You know, we get that call, and whether it be somebody in the hospital out in Fargo, cities, Duluth, you know, that's where we take that call. And that's why we have our assistants too, because the assistants really help out with getting that set up, you know, a room, if they need food or gas to get there. So you guys are the ones, you guys, the directors, the managers, the supervisors that run them programs, you guys are the ones that do that. You guys are the groundwork. We're just the information to get to you guys. So that's kind of the way it goes, you know, even late at night. Phone's always ringing. Either answer it right away or make sure you call them back. That's the big thing, you know, because they're in a time of need too. We got, you know, these guys said almost everything, you know, it's pretty easy just to say ditto and sit back down, but then I'm a big guy, you know, for our treatment and actually getting the people there. I'll share you a little story back in 1999 when I decided, you know, to change my life. Well, when I went there, they give me an assessment date for 2 weeks out. And I got kind of angry because I figured I was ready. Well, I ended up walking out that day, but I actually told them, you ain't going to see me in 2 weeks because I won't come back. But when I got out that door, one person come out of that building, and he was a big part of my recovery, Dennis Hisgun. He came out and he told me, I knew I'd see you again one day because my mom and dad had him come to the house to talk to me about the way I was drinking. So when he came out and did that and told me, I went to treatment the next day. 1999, 27 years ago. And today, everybody asks me, how do you do it? How do you do it? I said, you know what? I had to figure it out. I didn't know how to do it. I couldn't have one or two. Mine had to be days. So today, with all of my mentors, Joe Bush Fairbanks, Dennis, Andy Favorite, even Joe Bush, no. My prayers to them guys for teaching me of what I needed. When you go to treatment, it's you that learn them tools. Nobody else. It's got to come from here. Nobody can sober nobody up. I found that out. So in our District 1 over there, we do have the 10 elder homes now that came in. District 2 and District 3 each got some out of that same grant. And to see them today, them homeless elders in there, is really big. You know, people say, how can you be homeless if you have a car? Well, that's probably where they live. That's probably where they sleep. So you can be homeless and still have a car. I don't know about insurance or anything, but no. So that was the big thing, you know, for us over there. Mike Heisler with the 4 housing houses here that were just set up and people are already in. I know we had a couple of burnouts over there. One is set up, one is still got to be demolished. I know over here by Sonny's Acres there, we got 4 abandoned houses too. Well, that's in District 1. So hopefully, you know, I told Mike Heisler already that them next housing houses, that's where them are going to go. And I hope we can make it happen. And I think it will, you know. Mike here talked about, you know, housing, we need land. Well, Rice Lake just bought a big field over there and I don't see them do much farm work, so we could probably put 100 houses in there. Fixed incomes for our elder people. You know, I heard about fixed incomes for many years of living on a fixed income. And our social security disability or whatever, that's just not enough. You know, and I'm glad we're going to put some more money into getting these elder homes fixed, because we've been getting hit a lot in the winter here with furnaces, you know, 20, 30-year-old furnaces. And they're not cheap. And to get them set up, they're really not cheap. So I hope we can keep rolling, you know, because energy assistance, you know, people use their energy assistance all up this winter. And I myself, you know, had to do a lot of propane, fuel oil, even fixing furnaces. But when I do that, I get kind of chewed out by our CFO about my budget, but budget is budget. If I go over, I go over. No, I'm kidding. But with a lot of that also, and what kind of guy I am, if it's really truly needed, I dig in my pocket. You know, I'm just a caring guy. I was brought up that way from my father and my mother. And if people need help, I help them no matter what. Even if it's a loaf of bread or a bologna sandwich, you know. I survived on bologna and bread before, so. But then if you get a ham sandwich once in a while, that's a plus. No. We're not talking commod cheese though, so we don't share that. So we, the council, we go out and fight, whether it be in Washington, whether it be down in St. Paul. But we have a voice. We tell them. The land back thing, the state forest. We meet with a lot of these city councils, county commissioners. Well, I'll tell you what, I ain't budging. It ain't a give back, it ain't a take back, it's ours. So I'm a fighter. Tamarack was a little different. Boy, Tamarack kind of went smoothly, you know. Them guys are actually listening, you know. The Friends of Tamarack are out there. It's a group. They built a nice big building out there. They're still there. Them guys are so awesome, so nice. But I didn't want to walk trails that day. It was cold. But we have a big thing coming up there at the end of June. So when we get there, everybody will be invited. We'll go out there and we'll celebrate. Just like one day at the State Forest, we'll celebrate. Clinic, IHS clinic, we all been there, we all know. The federal government, you know, had to give us free health care. But then this health care is, you know, dental. How many are having problems with dental? Me, for one. For one, I'm losing teeth. I need some falsies. But we need to get better. We need to get dentists. You should see the clinic. How many dental chairs are there? I should have been a dentist. But I go there myself. It's kind of like, once in a while, it was kind of like, this ain't free healthcare. They want me to sign up for insurance. But I sign up for insurance and get denied anyway, so there we go. Back to IHS. IHS has always been my clinic. 62 years now. That's all I've ever used. I mean, I go to the ER if I get hurt or sick, but that's what I use is our clinic. Dr. Bishop is my doctor now. And I hated that. You get a good doctor, he's gone. Stays there for a little while, he's gone. And that's where I shared a story of the late Carson Gardner. He was my doctor when I was in my younger years. He was a good doctor. Like I say, I think he spoke more Ojibwe than anybody. And I was like, okay, doc. But he's a good doctor. Long rest him, rest his soul and his what he did here for us. You know, that's awesome. Rice Lake powwow coming up, Memorial Weekend. Everybody come out. Got the walk on Monday. Powwow starts on Sunday. Come on out and join us out there. It's good, you know. Oh yeah, Vince just reminded me, and I just told him about the Bagley powwow in the morning. So he just had to remind me about the Bagley powwow. That starts at 10, I believe. Bagley High School. 12:30. There we go. We got our orders from the honor guard. No, but I'm glad it's 12:30 because I might sleep in tomorrow. Oh, I can. It's Friday. But what I want to also say is our community councils in each of these communities working together, working with them. You know, we could get a lot more things done. And, you know, I work closely with Rice Lake Community Council there. I know some of the kids were dancing here today. But we need to keep doing that. Work together. Everybody needs to work together. We had day labor out there last week and this week, clearing some of the blowdown on the riverbank and throughout the powwow grounds. I mean, we got piles of popple and jack pine there. So much, and I can't believe none has been borrowed. No. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to offer, you know, to the District 1 people, even if they need a little bit of wood for campfire at their house, that's how we'll get it cleaned out there. After we use our spirit firewood, so. Oshki Manidu. They're in the process of building a new admin building there. You know, if anybody's been over to the old Gilfillan site there in Bemidji, we bought that back, I think, when Irma was the chairwoman from the Episcopal Church, and it's been the Oshki Manidu Treatment Center, youth and women and children. And them guys, you know, it's just like their own little compound over there. All their workers, you know, and it takes everybody to get the whole compound going, you know, the treatment center. So hats off to them guys over there, you know, Q Care, family treatment out there. What we really need is something for our youth, more for our youth. We need to get rolling. So it was really a big honor for me to serve, you know, District 1 as District 1 rep for the last 4 years. But in any job that is given, offered to me, I give it my all. Even if I got to learn it, of what the policies and everything are, I'll work hard wherever I go. That's how I was taught, and I'll keep going. But I got my letter in the mail the other day. I can retire, but I don't think I will. They'll say, Henry didn't come to work last night. He passed away. No. At about 80. I went to the MASH board meeting here last Friday, and Deb and Jim Mallory run MASH in the Thunderbird Wren House. Well, they had an old timer come back. My old buddy, Chet Welch, 84 years old, comes to work every day in his old rusty car, goes back home. So he never retired. Them are the guys I want to see. Never retire. But I want to thank the drums groups. I want to thank all of you workers, all of you programs. But I also want to thank the banquet staff here. You guys have always done so awesome. Don't forget them guys. But with that, I'm going to close. Miigwech, and it's beautiful. We'll just end it right now. No. Alrighty, Miigwech, I hope.
Thank you, Brother Henry Fox. You know, Henry, as I was listening, you talk a little bit about IHS. Man, it's come a long ways in terms of optics, right? We never had options of frames. We all had to wear the same old black, ugly frame, come out of there with those big, black, ugly window frames and look like the Indian version of Buddy Holly. We've come a long way, brother. We're going to move right along to our District 2 rep, who probably represents Natawash and the surrounding communities. Young brother here, Eugene Summers. Welcome, brother, once again. Here we are. Ahoo.
Miigwech, Vince. Yeah. Just want to say Miigwech for everybody for showing up. We got Lenny from NCAI, got Scott from Midwest Alliance of Sovereign Tribes. Let's see, we got Wendy from DOC, Mary from Tribal State Relations, and then all of our tribal liaisons at the state. Miigwech for making the trip out here. Oh yeah, and then we also have a tribal dignitary way back there. We got Chairman Carlos Hernandez from Boys Fort. You know, last time we were on this stage, you know, the chairman and the secretary treasurer took up most of the time and took all the talking points. And, you know, we come to the same thing again today. And me and Laura Lee were sitting over there editing our speeches and everything. So bear with me as I get through this report here. Buju Anishinaabe, Ogi Magijik, Benes, Indigenous Kaz, Wabjieshi, and Dane, Kawababi Ganikag, and Donjaba, Manomaninda. I guess I'll start off with the Tribal Utility Commission that's already been talked about over and over again. But I remember when we first established it back in 2022, it was newly elected. And I remember visiting the Gila River Reservation and looking at what they did with their tribal utilities. They own their own utility company and they made really smart investments early on. And, you know, I was really fired up and amped up and I wanted to bring it back to White Earth. And I was like, how long did this take you? He's like, oh, it took us about 30 years. So, you know, when we brought it back, we expected small growth, but with our amazing team we have, they're able to put up cell phone towers and build out a, you know, fiber optic infrastructure so our kids can do online learning. So our public safety has better communications, and we have quicker response times because of that. And it's all about that teamwork and that collaboration. And that wasn't the first time we had to start a regulatory authority. We when we got into cannabis, we had to do the same thing to self-regulate ourselves. And it's quite the undertaking because it takes a lot of time, a lot of planning, and a lot of times folks aren't happy with the regulators, and that's a good thing. They stand on policy, and it creates checks and balances for us. One thing that I really regret about our cannabis stuff was that Red Lake beat us by one day. Another thing we've been doing is we've been doing updates to this casino. It's coming along pretty well. We're about to wrap it up, and then we're also looking at having another casino in the Moorhead area. And all these little seeds that we're planting, they're going to grow into something really big one day. And that's what I'm looking forward to, is all these seeds that we planted and what they're going to grow into. I know we expanded on a lot of our tribal businesses, and our tribal enterprises just keep growing and growing, and it creates a lot of jobs and a lot of stability for our tribe. One of the things that I remember the most is these co-management agreements, these co-stewardship agreements. Those are pretty rough with the White Earth State Forest. Henry was talking about that. We had to go to like all these counties, and we had to like bump heads and bring up some old history. And we got it done though. We got that work done, and we signed a co-stewardship agreement with the governor, and that's just one step closer to reclaiming our land base. And with the Tamarack Refuge, the feds came and they were doing a lot of cuts, and our chairman was really adamant about us being going to the Department of Interior and saying like, hey, we can manage this. It's within our boundaries. So that's what we did, and it's been real smooth sailing ever since. And we, those two big parcels that we're going to reclaim, I don't know what the percentage is now, but I remember when I first came on council, I think we were at like 5% of our land base, and now we're upwards to 11, 12%. So slowly but surely, we're going to get it all back. Another thing is, this buffalo program. It gets me really excited. We know we have the best wild rice here in White Earth, and then now we're also going to have the best buffalo here, the most tender buffalo. But I'm going to keep it short because I know Laura Lee has about 10 pages to get through. But it's just been nice to reflect on all the work that we've done together, and all the stuff that's coming in the future. It's real nice. But there's still a lot of work to be done. Miigwech for everybody and all of our employees for coming out here and just doing day-to-day operations for the tribe and our constituents. Miigwech mio.
Thank you very much, Eugene. We're down to our last council representative here, proudly representing District 3, the White Earth community and all the White Earth communities. I'd like to call Laura Lee back up here. Laura, was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was here when you came aboard. You were being sworn in, sworn at. Hey. And here we are today. Welcome once again.
All right. Buju, Wanaquints, Indijnakas, Mikanak, Nadudam, Gawababi, Ganikag, Nandunjaba. Hello, everyone. My name is Laura Lee Erickson. I'm the District 3 representative here in White Earth. And I want to take the moment to thank you all for coming out today. I know a lot of dignitaries, the Bemidji City Council's here. And like Representative Summers says, there's a lot of agencies here and our tribal members. So thank you all for taking the time to come out today. It's been an honor to serve as a District 3 representative the last 2 years. And I just want to say thank you and Miigwech for giving me this opportunity to serve in this role. And Together, we continue to make progress. And first and foremost, none of this work can be done alone. And I want to acknowledge the partners, our tribal members, our elders, our staff, and all those who continue to walk this journey with us. It takes all of us to work together to move forward. So the projects that we undertake require a lot of time, coordination, a lot of meetings. And when I'm out visiting people, I heard from families and in the communities that there was a couple of boys and girls club in the communities that didn't have clubs open. And we made that a priority and a goal to work on that. And through the dedication and persistence of our staff, we were able to move this vision forward and reopen the club doors. So I just want to take a couple moments to highlight the key projects. So first off, in Callaway, we met with the city of Callaway and presented a proposal that they accepted to temporarily operate the Boys and Girls Club out of the event center. The city recognized the importance of this, and this effort is a reminder why partnerships matter. When we're willing to come together and sit down, talk, and collaborate, we create opportunities that we might otherwise have out of reach. We're excited to actually announce that we will be building a new Boys and Girls Club in Callaway. This is going to be a new construction project. The building is going to include a half a gym, a kitchen, a classroom, and office spaces so that the youth have the opportunity to get services that they need also. We also have established a 5-member community council in Callaway. And as you've heard earlier, our community councils play a crucial role to get out into the community. They organize different events to do outreach and gather our community members together. The tribe has also been generously gifted 2 buildings in Callaway, a church and a former store that's along Highway 59. And right now we're assessing what we're going to do with those buildings to meet the community needs. Elbow Lake. This was the second community. When I was out there, I heard there wasn't a Boys and Girls Club. And the Lake Boys and Girls Club has reached a milestone with the opening of a temporary site on December 29th, ensuring that our youth now have a safe place to gather. In addition, we successfully secured funding for a new permanent Boys and Girls Club facility in Elbow Lake. And that'll be delivered on July 27th, 2026. And this will be a significant step forward in creating a long-term space for our community. So each summer we have different community picnics out in the villages. And, last year I was out in Elbow Lake and we're standing by the lakefront and the elders were telling me stories about how when they were growing up, that they used to all swim in this area, down by the beach. And right now, if you go out there, the beach is grown over. So, I took it back to Natural Resources and they got a plan together and we took the plan to the tribal leaders and they supported funding, fixing up the beach out there. So we're going to make it into a nice swimming beach for the community members. Natural Resources is also looking at getting a new pier out there too. So the old pier is kind of old, and so we're going to hopefully get that fixed up. Next, we're going to move on to Pine Point. And I heard stories from the community members that were seeking recovery and some that had successfully are in recovery now. But one of the barriers out there were some of the missing services. And Pine Point Medicated Assisted Treatment Services officially launched on April 1st and bringing essential care directly into the community. And this expansion reduces the need for individuals to drive to White Earth or Nadawash. It gets to be a long drive. Sometimes it's 25 minutes from Pine Point to White Earth on good roads, but when it's winter, the roads can be really crappy through the refuge. So by making these services available locally, we are removing barriers and we're meeting our people where they are. Another initiative that we're doing, many of us have grown up playing softball. We have a lot of great memories, and Pine Point has a softball field out there. It just needs a little bit of TLC. So the Tribal Council has shown support by funding the Pine Point softball field improvement project. This will restore the field, to create a safe, well-maintained space for our youth and families to gather and play softball again. We talk about having softball back in all of our communities. You know, like I said, we all played softball. So eventually I hope the goal is to get it back in all of our communities. Now, Creators Place, if you haven't been out to Creators Place out in Pine Point, I really urge you all to stop out there. The tribe continues to partner with Creators Place. It continues to grow and it has a positive impact on the village. It creates jobs. They make a bunch of headstones. People couldn't afford headstones to put on their loved ones' burials before. They make dog houses, they make sheds, they do beadwork. So I just want to give a shout out to Jean Cruft for making that opportunity for the members out in Pine Point. The tribe completed a tribal transportation safety plan in 2024, identifying key safety needs and priority needs. And one of those priorities is the Pine Point shared use path. To move this forward, the tribe has applied for a pre-construction grant to support the design, the environmental, the right-of-way for sidewalks and lighting. This project will connect from the newer housing along the curve through the village to the store. Right now, the kids have to walk kind of on the road or on the side, or even the community members. So this is a big step in the right direction for Pine Point too. And our Public Works Department continues to work through the process for a new water treatment plant in the village. We're going to move on to White Earth. So we broke ground for a new water treatment building to support clean water. The building is near the powwow grounds, and pending no setbacks, it should be online by the end of the year or early 2027. One of the exciting projects that we have coming is a splash pad. And this is going to be installed near the existing playground and near the basketball courts. And this is going to be a welcome place for all the families and the youth to enjoy. The project will be coming later this summer. We got a little bit of a late start, but just please know that it is coming. And the goal is to develop a one-stop shop for the community members and the families to go. So like on a hot day, we want the kids to go run through the splash pad. And then if they want to go play on the playground to cool down, and then they can go back to the splash pad. The old White Earth Fleet garage has been demolished, and a new garage will be built for GSA vehicles, for CHR, and some home health nurses. This improvement will provide space for the cars. Right now, they all park outside the RTC. And with the harsh winters, you know, the nurses and the CHI drivers have to sit there and wait for the cars to warm up. They have to brush all the snow off. So this will save some time too for the workers. In the White Earth South projects, we are evaluating the old playground equipment. It's pretty old out there. We have a lot of youth out there. So we're accessing the area, and the goal is to replace it with new playground equipment for the families. The previous council talked about the duplexes, the family treatment out at Strawberry Lake. So I think that's a really right step direction in the right direction for our families to come together and to heal. White Earth also received a grant for design and environmental for a shared youth walking path from the White Earth RBC headquarters that'll go out to Highway 34. And then you'll take a right and you'll continue down to where the old Cola school used to sit. So this will be a process, you know, anytime you're creating walkways and pathways, you got to find out who owns certain property. You got to make sure the wetlands, it's just a bit long process, but that'll be nice once we get that going too. Also, Circle of Life will be having an immersion camp in June, and this is really exciting. You know, this is the right direction for our culture and our language. So I hope everybody can attend and get your kids and families out there. We also have the construction of the new transit building in Waubun underway. This is the largest tribal transit facility in Minnesota. And this facility will provide spaces for buses, staff, and an increase in efficiency. And I want to do a shout out to the staff, the transit, and the grant writers for making that a reality also. In Ogama, we're trying to put together community councils. So, we heard that there might not be a picnic because there is not an active community council. So we're going to be working on that really hard to try to put one together. And our elders. In the past, our elders used to get $20 Christmas cards, and through conversations with them, we learned that the amount had not been increased for many, many years. And in response, we heard you. In 2024, we increased the amount to $100. Our elderly nutrition meals were also prepped at satellite kitchens, and they were being transported to various sites. So just so the people would have an idea, the staff would cook the meals. They would, put them in containers, load them into the car, drive out to like Pine Point, unload it, take it back in, take it in the kitchen, warm it back up, and then serve. So in 2024, the elders requested that the nutrition sites be reopened so meals were once again cooked and served warm on site. And we listened and we responded. All the White Earth EMP sites are fully opened and operational again. Our elder sanitation services are provided at no cost to our elders. This change ensures that our elders receive the support without the financial burden of having to make that payment. And to our youth, lastly, we want to encourage you guys all to make sure you pursue your education and take time to find the road that's right for you. Whether it's a 2-year college, a 4-year college, or other training, there are many options to build a bright future. There are also trade schools, there's certifications, and hands-on careers that can lead to successful careers. But the most important thing, please remember, is to find what is going to fit you best and what you like and what's in your interest. There's still a lot of important work for us to be done, but we've made a lot of progress, but we remain committed to continuing this journey, addressing the ongoing needs and building on the foundation we have set for you. I also want to say chi miigwech to Representative Summers for working alongside of us. I got to work with him for 2 years, so I want to wish him the best of luck on whatever you do and enjoy life a little bit. And I just want to say, miigwech for the community, for your trust and support, and together we'll continue to build stronger communities.
Thank you very much, Laura Lee, our District 3 rep. We're going to ask our veterans to come back here at this time as we're going to finish out and get you all into a good meal as prepared. I'm going to ask the Tribal Council to make their way back down to the floor and fall in behind our staffs on over here. We have 4 drum groups represented. We've heard from 3 of our drum groups, and our 4th drum group is Fox Crossing. We're going to ask you to stand by with what we call our traveling song. As an announcer, I had an opportunity many, many years ago to go all the way around Lake of the Woods. And there's 23 First Nations around Lake of the Woods, our relatives to the north, that are across the medicine line. I don't like referring to it as a border. It kind of sounds like confinement. And we crossed that medicine line many times to our relatives to the north. And an elder that's no longer here with us, by the name of Alex Skeed, composed this song you're about to hear. He told me it was actually a healing song, a doctoring song that came to him in a vision through a brother. He was in a hospital up in Kenora, and they allowed his brother to cross over, and he came and gave this song and said, when you sing this song and the food and the various things, ceremonies, you're going to walk out of this hospital, which he did in 4 days. So across Ojibwe territories, Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Mowin, it's been referred to as a traveling song. And it's to assure you all a safe journey back to your homeland, to your people, that you find everything in a good way or in a better way. So when you come out and dance to this song, if you're over to, or we exit with our staff here, with our proud veterans, this is the origin of the meaning of the traveling song. So we'll invite you one more time to rise if you're able to, and we go over to Fox Crossings for the exit at this time. Traveling song, boys, whenever you're ready. Ladies and gentlemen, as our proud veterans, along with our tribal council, exit the arena at this time, how about we warm up our hands with a round of applause one more time for the White Earth Nation Honor Guard and our tribal council. Aho, 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 ah. Big words. Thank you very much for talking here. Ladies and gentlemen, have a seat at this time as we're going to go into our meal. I also would like to remind everybody we will be hosting a Mother's Day powwow celebration this weekend here also. You know, as they talked about our staff here that have been patiently waiting on us on them tables and so forth, and to all the volunteers that go on notice, we say a special thank you to all of our workers. And we'll go into our meal at this time, and this will conclude our State of the Nation address for this afternoon. We wish you all a safe journey home. And if you stick around or are going to gamble a little bit, we say good luck to you also. And now we'll go into our meal. Aho.